Have you ever wondered if the mind is not merely a product of the brain, but a frequency tuned to the infinite hum of the cosmos? Before we begin this journey into the unseen layers of consciousness, like, share, and subscribe to help us explore the mysteries hidden in the folds of reality. There is a stillness beneath every sound, a void humming quietly beneath thought. The mind, often thought to be a vessel of logic and memory, pulses instead like a wave, vibrating in a quantum ocean where possibility is the only law. Modern physics has unspooled the illusion of solidity, revealing that even the densest object is mostly emptiness, atoms dancing in probability, guided by frequency. And so it is with the mind. The thoughts we think are not isolated sparks in the dark, but waves of potential echoing across dimensions. What we perceive as intelligence, memory, imagination, these are not confined to the brain's physical folds, but radiate like signals from a deep transmitter. The frequency of that signal determines the reality we occupy. Tune it low, and the world grows heavy, thick with fear and inertia. Tune it high, and light breaks through the membrane of the mundane. Neurons fire, yes, but not at random. They fire in patterns, in rhythms, in codes reminiscent of music. There is a symphony beneath perception, and consciousness is its ever-evolving melody. But this is not a melody you merely hear. You are it. Your awareness is the sound, the receiver, and the echo all at once. The ancient mystics knew this before machines confirmed it. They meditated not to escape the world, but to hear its deeper song. There is a frequency where thought dissolves and only presence remains. At this level, time bends. The past and future collapse into a shimmering now. This is not imagination, it is quantum alignment. Your cells vibrate in tune with it. Your heartbeat becomes a metronome of the universal rhythm. In this space, intention becomes architecture, desire becomes geometry, belief becomes blueprint. The mind is no longer reactive but generative. This is not a metaphor. Experiments in quantum entanglement, coherence, and observer effects have shown that observation changes outcome, that intention alters matter, that consciousness participates in reality's unfolding. The observer is not separate from the observed. The seer molds the seen. Every thought is a frequency cast into the quantum field, creating ripples that shape the architecture of your moment-to-moment life. Mastery begins with silence, not absence, but precision. Not stillness, but resonance. The kind of silence that listens so deeply it begins to hum with understanding. When the internal noise quiets, the subtler frequencies emerge. The static of fear, distraction, and doubt fades, revealing the architecture beneath, your quantum signature. It is encoded in every cell, in the light flickering between synapses, in the electric tapestry of your nervous system. To access higher quantum frequencies, the mind must become transparent. Not empty, but clear, free of distortion, patterns, loops. In this clarity, attention becomes power, focus becomes gravity. You draw toward you the frequencies that mirror your intent. What you hold in awareness amplifies. The universe does not reward effort. It reflects coherence. The ancient texts spoke of the pineal gland as the seat of spiritual sight. Today, we know it is bathed in magnetic fields, responsive to photonic frequencies, sensitive to the light not seen by the eyes. When activated through meditation, breath, or focused frequency, it becomes an antenna to dimensions beyond physical space. It decodes information embedded in the field. It drinks from the unspoken well of intelligence beneath thought, and in that decoding, the mind shifts. It stops clinging to form and begins flowing with function. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness noticing them. You are not your emotions. You are the field through which they pass. When that field is tuned to harmony, chaos passes like a cloud. But when it is attuned to fear, the mind echoes discord. Frequencies either enslave or liberate. The choice is yours. Mastering the mind is not about suppression. It is about precision. It is not about control. It is about coherence. Coherence is when the heart and brain pulse in harmony, when the emotional field matches the cognitive one, when intention, breath, and belief align like stars. In that alignment, time slows, insight quickens, the boundary between self and cosmos thins. This is not philosophy. It is physics in motion. Your every thought is a waveform. Every belief is an attractor. Every emotion is an amplifier. You are frequency in human form, a vibrating intelligence moving through dimensions not yet mapped by maps or measured by machines. But they are felt, and they are real. Beneath the veil of visible thought, intention forms a lattice, subtle, crystalline, resonant. It moves not with speed but with certainty, collapsing the infinite into form, sculpting the possible into what is. Before action arises, before words take shape, the architecture of desire blooms in silence. This is not merely a wish but a frequency, a directed current sent into the quantum field. It is the unseen geometry of thought that builds the world behind the world. The mind, when untrained, scatters. It leaps from one thread to another, tangled in the thorns of memory and future's shadow. But when mastered through alignment, it becomes a lens through which energy organizes. The quantum field does not respond to language, it responds to coherence. It listens not to words but to the charge behind them, the clarity of the vibration. And so, one who holds a thought with unwavering presence bends space around it, drawing the formless into the sculpted. Intention is not effort, it is not strain. It is not the clenching of will against the current of life. It is the silent knowing that your thought has weight, that your frequency creates form. It is standing still inside the eye of the storm, where movement obeys presence. When the mind learns to dwell here, reality becomes fluid. The ancients knew what modern science is beginning to recall. The universe is fractal. Patterns repeat across scales, a galaxy and a cell, a neuron and a star. Thought, too, has a geometry. When focused with precision, it etches patterns into Gia, the fabric of existence rippling outward beyond the moment. These patterns are not seen by the eye, but they guide what the eye sees. They are the hidden lines behind every manifestation, the sacred architecture beneath every experience. To think is to mold. To believe is to anchor. The mind becomes the chisel, frequency the stone, and intention the hand. And when the heart aligns with thought, when emotion charges the structure, creation accelerates. The electromagnetic field of the heart is not a metaphor but a measurable force, extending far beyond the body, syncing with the neural field in a loop of resonance. When the heart believes what the mind envisions, the signal becomes undeniable. Intention is not born in the brain alone. It is summoned from the alignment of the whole being. Breath steadies it. Emotion feeds it. Awareness directs it. It is not imagined, it is invoked. And the universe, responding with the precision of a mirrored song, sends back the frequency of what was cast. The field is a sea of potential, unformed but intelligent, waiting to be carved by the edge of coherent thought. Every moment becomes an opportunity not to react but to tune, not to flee but to align. As you walk through space, your intention reshapes the terrain beneath your feet, calling the particles into place with every step. The seen is a result. The unseen is the cause. Time itself bends to the force of coherent frequency. It stretches, condenses, flows around the geometry of thought. When you master intention, you do not manipulate time. You move outside its current. You become the stillness through which time must pass. You become the fixed point that changes the orbit of what revolves around you. There is no separation between the inner and the outer. What you hold inside is projected onto the screen of the world, but it is not projected as illusion. It is manifested as structure. The field is not a passive observer. It is a mirror that molds to the image you impress upon it. This is not magic, but mechanics. Not mysticism, but mathematics of the invisible. The language of the quantum realm is not syllables. It is frequency, vibration, harmonics, and your thoughts, when aligned, speak this language fluently. They do not beg, they declare. They do not hope, they become. And in the deep, unshaken center of intention, the mind learns to release, not surrender to weakness, but to flow. The frequency must be clear, but it must not grasp. When you release your grip from needing, your field opens, and what you've cast begins to return, not as you imagined it, but as it must be. Form follows function. Manifestation follows alignment. To master this is not to chase, but to become. Not to search, but to radiate. You do not draw outcomes by motion, but by frequency. The right frequency makes space irrelevant. It bridges the gap between now and then, here and there, turning dreams into echoes waiting to be heard. The mind, in stillness, is not empty. It is resonant. It rings with clarity like a bell struck once and forever, humming in eternity. Thought becomes tone. Tone becomes structure. Structure becomes self. The architecture of intention is already forming. In the symphony of consciousness, the heart and mind are not soloists but intertwined instruments, weaving harmonies that shape the very fabric of existence. Each pulse of the heart sends waves rippling through the electromagnetic field, a language older than words, speaking directly to the unseen realms of being. The mind translates this language into form, creating patterns of thought that echo beyond the limits of perception. Science now reveals the heart's magnetic field extends several feet beyond the body, a vast ocean of influence connecting us to each other and to the earth itself. This field pulses with the rhythm of emotions: hope, love, fear, anger, each carrying a frequency that colors the reality we live within. When heart and mind resonate in harmony, their frequencies amplify one another, creating coherence, a state where energy flows effortlessly and manifestation quickens. Coherence is not simply a feeling of peace. It is a measurable state where brain waves and heart rhythms synchronize, where the chaotic noise of distraction gives way to a focused, vibrant resonance. This state amplifies intuition, deepens insight, and aligns the internal landscape with the external world. It is here that quantum mastery begins, not as an abstract concept, but as lived experience. Emotions act as frequency modulators. They shape the signal emitted by our consciousness, coloring the waveform with charge and intent. Love, gratitude, and joy elevate the frequency, expanding the field of possibility. Fear, resentment, and doubt contract it, shrinking the scope of what the mind can create. The quantum field responds not to logic alone, but to the emotional signature that powers it. In this dance, the heart is the amplifier, the mind the director. Breath becomes the bridge between heart and mind, a rhythm that grounds the swirling frequencies into embodied awareness. Slow, intentional breathing calms the nervous system, shifts brainwave states, and opens the gateway to deeper resonance. With each breath, the internal landscape tunes itself, aligning the subtle currents of energy that pulse beneath conscious thought. The ancient traditions understood this unity well. They taught that the heart is the sacred center, the true seat of intelligence where mind and spirit meet. Modern science affirms this. The heart's neural network, called the heart-brain, processes information and communicates back to the head, influencing perception, decision-making, and even gene expression. The dialogue between heart and mind is a two-way current, shaping experience from the inside out. Mastery of quantum frequency requires tending to this relationship with care and reverence. It asks for presence, not pushing; awareness, not judgment. When the heart opens, the mind clarifies. When the mind focuses, the heart stabilizes. This cyclical flow creates the fertile ground where intention takes root and blossoms. In this space, intuition sharpens. Insights arise not from linear thought but from holistic knowing, a synthesis of information beyond the senses. The mind learns to listen, not only to facts but to feelings, to subtle cues whispered by the body and environment. The frequency of coherence transforms perception, allowing one to move fluidly through challenges, to sense unseen patterns, to navigate the quantum sea with grace. The boundaries between self and other begin to blur. In coherence, the electromagnetic fields of two or more people resonate together, creating shared frequencies that influence collective experience. This is the foundation of empathy, of connection, beyond words, of energy flowing freely between souls. Every heartbeat becomes a drumbeat of creation, every thought, a wave in the ocean of possibility. The quantum mind is not a solitary island, but a dynamic web, vibrating in concert with all life. To master it is to join the dance, to become both composer and instrument, to wield frequency as the brush that paints reality. The path is not simple, but it is natural. It unfolds with each breath, each moment of awareness. The frequencies of heart and mind pulse like twin flames, lighting the way through the darkness of limitation into the expansive light of potential. The universe is a dance of resonance, an endless interplay of frequencies weaving the fabric of reality. At its core, everything vibrates: matter, energy, thought, emotion, each a note in the cosmic symphony. To master the mind through quantum frequency is to learn the steps of this dance, to move with the currents rather than against them, to harmonize with the invisible rhythms that shape existence. Resonance occurs when two frequencies align, amplifying each other in a feedback loop of power and clarity. In the quantum field, resonance can collapse infinite possibilities into a singular outcome. It is the bridge between intention and manifestation, the subtle mechanism that turns thought into form. Every wave that echoes in your consciousness seeks its counterpart, a matching vibration that completes it. When the mind and heart achieve coherence, they resonate with the quantum field's foundational frequencies. This resonance transforms the static of everyday consciousness into a pure tone, clear, strong, and unwavering. In this state, the mind acts as a tuning fork, broadcasting a precise frequency that draws to it the patterns and events matching its vibration. This is the essence of mastery. Not force, but alignment; not control, but resonance. The quantum mind is not a tool to impose will, but a vessel to flow with the infinite. When you attune your inner frequency to the natural harmonies of the universe, you become a magnet for synchronicity, for moments where chance falls away and meaning emerges. Every thought carries with it a signature, a vibrational imprint that can attract or repel. Negative thoughts emit dissonance, fracturing the field and scattering energy. Positive, coherent thought creates harmony, focusing energy like a beam of light. The difference is subtle but profound. Like tuning a radio, the slightest adjustment changes the signal from static to song. The dance of resonance extends beyond the individual. Groups of coherent minds can create powerful collective fields, amplifying intention and healing. This is seen in moments of shared focus, rituals, and even mass meditation. The quantum field responds to collective resonance, collapsing potentials on a larger scale. The mind, once isolated, now participates in a vast network of vibrational interplay. Mastery requires practice, patience, and presence. It asks us to listen deeply, to the silence between thoughts, to the whispers beneath emotion, to the pulse beneath breath. In this listening, the frequency of the mind becomes clear, steady, and strong. The noise of distraction falls away, leaving the pure tone of awareness. Quantum resonance is also a reminder of impermanence. Frequencies shift, patterns change, and nothing remains fixed. Mastery is not possession, but flow. It is the ability to adapt your frequency, to shift with changing currents without losing the core of your being. Like water, you take the shape required, reflecting the light but never clinging to form. In this dance, failure is not a defeat but a change of step. Each misalignment signals a chance to retune, to refine the frequency, to return to coherence. Mastery embraces the process rather than the outcome, knowing that every vibration is part of the unfolding melody. To master the mind through quantum frequency is to awaken to your role as both dancer and music in the cosmic symphony. It is to step beyond illusion and into resonance, to hear the song beneath noise, and to become one with the rhythm that shapes worlds. The final step in mastering the mind through quantum frequency is to embody the vibration itself. It is no longer enough to tune the mind or heart individually. Mastery arises when the entire being hums with coherence, when body, mind, and spirit become a single frequency resonating with the cosmos. To become the frequency is to dissolve the boundary between self and universe, to move beyond separation into unity. This embodiment is a living presence, a radiance felt rather than explained, a power sensed rather than grasped. It pulses in the flow of breath, in the stillness of thought, in the warmth of feeling. The quantum mind is no longer a spectator, but a creator, no longer a receiver, but a transmitter, broadcasting its unique signature into the fabric of reality. As the frequency rises, the ordinary world shifts. Synchronistic moments become commonplace. Challenges dissolve or transform. Insights arrive with clarity and grace. The quantum field bends to the resonance you hold, shaping experience as an artist molds clay. You become both the melody and the musician, the wave and the shore. Mastery demands surrender, not surrender to defeat, but surrender to flow. To trust that the frequency you carry is enough, that your coherent vibration is a beacon. It asks you to release resistance and meet life with openness, to feel deeply without losing clarity, to hold intention without grasping. In this space, you become a catalyst for transformation, not only for yourself, but for those whose frequencies you touch. Your coherence ripples outward, inspiring alignment in others, creating a collective harmony that shapes the future. The quantum mind, embodied and free, participates in the endless dance of creation, weaving threads of light into the tapestry of existence. Remember, mastery is not a destination, but a journey. It is a continuous tuning, a daily practice of presence and awareness. Every moment offers a choice, to fall back into discord or rise into resonance. Choose to rise, choose to become the frequency. If this journey into the quantum mind calls to you, subscribe to continue exploring the infinite potential within. Share this wisdom to amplify the collective resonance. Like this message to affirm your commitment to mastering your mind. Together, we will unfold the mysteries of frequency and consciousness, becoming the architects of a new reality. Your mind is a quantum instrument. Play it with intention, resonate with purpose, become the frequency.